video gets live, I can.
You're live now.
All right. So what happens is, go to your channel. Hey Facebook, or excuse me, hey YouTube. Franz Borkhardt here with the Geaux Rouge show. I'm trying to find the live episode. Hold on. Oh, here we go. We got to fix that photo. Can you fix that photo? Because it's the photo from last episode in there. Can you do it after if I send you something? Or if you just want to use this?
On your YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know how to do that.
Okay, I'll fix it. So this is it right here.
I see it.
If you go to the Geaux Rouge, Geaux Rouge,
because of all of the screens.
so Dylan, look, if you go to the Geaux Rouge thing, you can share it.
I see.
Yeah, I started to do that, and then I got so physically nervous that I decided I would not. We'll let folks stumble across it if they happen to.
Stumble across.
Well, they can
it, as
listen
if it
to
were,
it after the fact.
They can listen to it after the fact.
Right. It's safe for posterity.
We'll do it now. All right, fine.
That's
Where do
okay.
you go? You go to the Geaux Rouge on the YouTube?
You do. I'm not going to make you do anything.
No, I'm asking. On the YouTube?
I was just texting with David a while ago. Yeah. Trying to lock him in for no hosting the show with me because Jay's out of town. Oh, yeah. So him and Clay are going to come August 1st. If you're available, want to hang out with us? Feel free.
So I've got like a trial coming up in Alexandria. It's like a murder trial. No, it's not. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck so hard. So I love trying cases, but are you competitive at all? You ever played any sports in high school or middle school or anything at all? Ever play any kind of competitive sports? Sure. Quidditch or whatever it's called now, quad ball.
Killer space.
So playing a sport, that's what they call it now, quad ball, because they were militant enough to not want to be associated with Harry Potter, but not militant enough to stop playing the game.
That's right.
Which was, on all accounts, created by J.K. Rowling.
That's right.
I have issues with that. But that's another conversation for another day. But point being, I like a good sports match where I get to compete, but I don't like sitting there in a boxing match where I'm just getting this done to me. And sometimes...
Is that what quad ball is?
No, quad ball is Quidditch.
Quidditch,
But woke. Woke's not the right word. Separating themselves from
the
Harry Potter.
franchise.
From Harry
Yeah.
Potter.
Yeah, it's a
Specifically,
franchise because of
which you're a book person.
yes, I am.
Can you separate the art from the artist?
You can.
Yeah, I think so.
Otherwise,
Michael Jackson, but you don't have to like.
you can listen to Wagner and don't have to like him.
Harry Potter books are special books. You can
Yes.
disagree with her on some of her social political feelings, but the Harry Potter books are...
They changed reading in America. J.K. Rowling and Oprah Winfrey saved reading in America.
Yeah, the books are great.
And she was sneaky. She kept making the books bigger. Like the first book, you remember the first book? It was
Yeah.
like this big, and then the last book was like a Bible.
That's right.
Progressively every time.
Right.
Yeah.
Like 100
It got
pages, yeah.
richer, deeper, and older. So, because when they first came out, middle grades, elementary grades, no problem.
Right.
And adults like them too. And that's why we have them in every collection.
All right, so you gotta also turn your phones.
I'm turned off.
Of course, you're turned off.
Well, when the initial
Only one person's watching, and that's me.
It'll happen.
So the
I shared it to Facebook.
that's okay. My ego is. I've gotten past the how many people are viewing stuff phase of my life.
But they view over time.
Yeah.
Because you can catch it.
So what touches you is when somebody later unexpectedly says, "Hey, I watched that episode where you had such and such on, and I really liked it." And you're like, "You're that one person that was watching it."
No, that
So we're gonna start at about what time do we go in?
okay.
So, I was at Kocha for lunch today.
Yum.
They have fantastic downtown lunch. One of the best ones.
Or dinner.
To me, Kocha is the third time is the charm date night place where if you're dating somebody and you're like trying to turn the corner, Cocha is your third date. That's the I want to wow her, but not like supper club wow, but
Right.
like
Where's the first date place? If Coach is the third date place,
Yeah, where
where's
do you go on the first?
first date. First date is Soji for lunch.
Okay.
For
Okay.
lunch.
Consistently, Soji will tell you I take first dates to Soji
Interesting.
for lunch, and I sit at the sushi bar and interact with the
Okay.
sushi people.
Okay, so it's an experience.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I thought they got at the Raw Bar.
Yeah. Yes.
They took out the Raw Bar.
No. Welcome to the Geaux Rouge radio show. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on Talk 107.3, welcome to episode 117. Geaux Rouge radio show is hosted by me, Franz Borkhardt. We got Chuck P. producing on Master Controls today. If you're just now tuning in, we've got a great lineup today. We've got Mary Stein from the East Baton Rouge Parish Library going to talk to us about some things you may not know about the library. She also brought presents. I like it when people bring presents. Swag. She brought me a bow tie that clips onto the button. And if you know anything about Franz Borkhardt, he likes to wear bow ties. We also got Dorothy Kemp with Volunteers in Public Schools talking about some volunteer opportunities. We may talk to her about some other life things going on. And then our special co-host today is going to be the Dylan Ferguson. Dylan Ferguson works for a wonderful app called Toast. Have you ever used Toast?
I have not.
Oh, you're welcome. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
You're
All right,
welcome.
fair enough.
It makes, from the customer standpoint, it makes paying for the food at a restaurant awesome. It helps restaurants out. But then Dylan's going to help me talk about how to become a better diner or better patron, a better customer, if you will.
You need some help with that.
Not just me, other people do. Well, I got in trouble, Chuck, because I posted a picture of Soul Shine red beans and rice. And the photo didn't do the red beans and rice justice. I like soul food. Dylan and I were at soul food, but the picture was a bad photo. And it looked dry, it looked bad, and people are all like, man, that looks gross. And I'm like, well, it may look gross, but it was delicious. So I do need tips on how to be a better customer, and who better to give me tips than someone who was in the restaurant industry? I mean, you and I like to eat, so, but look. Before,
We gave that away.
Yeah, I know. It's all right. I want to give back to the restaurant community by eating their beautiful food.
Sure.
So before we get into all the guests we have, we need to thank our show sponsors. First and foremost, if you want to get more episodes of the Geaux Rouge Show into your life, go to www.geauxrouge.com. You can also watch on demand on our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel called the Geaux Rouge YouTube channel.
How original.
I know. Yeah, ain't nothing original
That's
about
hey,
this.
stay on brand, man. Stay on brand.
Stay on brand. Stay consistent, Franz. Look, our show sponsors are the businesses that make the Geaux Rouge Show possible. First, Dr. G, Dr. Gunja Reyna with MDVIP at Hill 360. You can check her out at www.drreyna.com. If you are wondering, and I say this every week, if you're wondering, hey, Franz, you look like you've dropped a few LBs. How'd you drop the LBs? The answer is simple. I started working with Dr. Reyna. She got me in a healthy place in my life. And while I do like to still eat and indulge in great food, I got a healthy lifestyle plan now that works for me, and she can help you find one that works for you. La Divina Italian Cafe, serving select wines, ice cold beer, plus their exclusive sorbet mimosa. Oh, man. I had La Divina last night with my son. It's our special place, La Divina. I could take Fisher to Soul Shine as our special place, but it's kind of a quasi-bar, and I feel awkward about bringing a 6-year-old to it.
I mean, you're good there until around 9 p.m.
Yeah, then it gets a
maybe
little
not.
sketchy.
Yeah.
So my point is, the experience was he got a little pizza, and I walk up and they know him by name. They get the pepperoni pizza. Oh, it was so beautiful, just beautiful to watch that. And then last but not least, our last show sponsor is, in fact, the Borkhardt Law Firm. That's my criminal defense firm. That's my lemonade stand. I'm really appreciative of the folks at Borkhardt Law Firm letting me have this show and sponsoring it.
What a good bunch of people.
The owner, I know the owner there. I hear he's a jerk. But look, all joking aside, If you need any assistance on that front, check us out at www.borkartlawfirm.com. Mostly criminal defense work I do, but a little bit of everything. Hopefully you never need me, Chuck. But if you did, you at least know one criminal defense attorney, if not multiple. That's not a statement about you, Chuck.
Thanks, appreciate it.
All right, so our first guest, we welcome in. Dylan's going to be co-hosting for the first half. Our first guest, we're going to have Miss Mary Stein in. How are you, Miss Mary?
I am happy to be alive.
So for those, that's awesome to hear that. Now, not everybody says that. You ask people how they're doing it. It's like, I'm okay. I'm Eeyore. Mary's always got some pep in her step and all that. So Mary works at one of my favorite places in Baton Rouge. I said that off air, so that was a genuine statement just now. East Baton Rouge Library off of Goodwood.
That's right.
All right, so what is your role there?
I am fortunate enough to be the assistant library director, and basically I'm the director of fun because I get to mess with the collections, buying the books, buying the audio, the digital library, work with the programs, the services that we offer, everything from the 3D printer that made you that bow tie to wonderful events that you can take your child to the meeting rooms that sometimes I may have seen you at. I get to play with all of those platforms.
Well, that was an excellent segue. You're a wonderful guest. That was an excellent segue into why you're here, which is all the things that are at the library that people may not know about. So let's start. 3D printing.
Oh, and that's old now.
I know
Come
that's
on.
old, but okay. If Dylan, for hypothetical, if Dylan wanted to 3D print something,
Just send the file.
that's all you got to do is send the file?
Yeah. There's a small fee you pay by the gram, or he could get badged and learn how to do it himself if he's designing his own thing. But if he's just pulling a file from one of the universal file libraries where they've created things, like I pulled down, I made some earrings for a special event, and I've made a missing piece for my sewing machine. Someone else I know made something for their lawnmower, and kids are always making octopi. Whatever works
Did you
for
say
you.
octopi?
Yes.
It's also octopuses.
No, I'm not saying that.
But that's okay. So let's start there. That was so awesome, Mary. So you got the 3D printing, but that's
Yes.
not really why you're here.
No, because books are the brand for the library. Right. But ladies and gentlemen, whatever you're used to seeing in the library, again, it's not your grandmother's library. It's not your grandfather's library. If you like books, we have them online. If you like DVDs and videos and Blu-rays, we have them streaming. If you like your magazines and your newspapers, we have them online in many languages and in many portals. If you like to do history, we've got that online too, whether it's oral history or all your genealogy needs, constantly adding to it.
Okay.
It's full service.
So let's have an intervention here. Some have said I can be extra. Some have said I have bougie tendencies.
You can't have too many books. I'm
All right,
sorry.
so I use Audible for my audiobooks.
That's fine.
And someone who will remain nameless, who's mutually good friends with Dylan and I, called me out and said, "Dude, do you know about Libby?" And I'm like, "What's Libby?" And he's like, "You don't know about this is a guy that is
the best."
So, digital access to books. Talk to me about what Libby is.
Okay, so Libby is our one-tap app that gets you into the digital library of ebooks and audiobooks, and there's even magazines, and there's even video, all in one convenient package. All you need to access this marvelous library is your library card.
That's it.
Your East Baton Rouge Parish Library card. And you can have 15 things at a time on your shelf. I always do. And some of them can be audiobooks, and you can play them in your car. You can be listening while you're exercising or walking or just while you're tatting.
So
I know that's happening.
Allow me to sound like an info commercial for a second, Mary. How much does that cost?
It's free with your library card.
So free access to a digital library. Now, so the next question, because this is where I come in extra, I have a need for immediate gratification. As you may or may not, Chuck, you may or may not know this. What is the access capabilities of Libby in terms
24/7. The library doesn't have to be open, but Libby always is.
All right.
You just need an active library card, and you update that every couple of years. So, and we even remind you so you don't suddenly one day not be able to work it.
So does it sync to? I have an iPhone.
It syncs. My phone and my tablet are synced right now so that I can look at, life music of the 1968 Rock and Roll's Greatest Year. I was there. That's a magazine. I also happen to have some lovely murder mysteries because I do enjoy a good crime online. And I have some lovely biographies, and one of them's an audiobook for a car trip I plan on taking.
So I guess my question is, okay, free to access, free to set up.
We'll even teach you how to
That's
do
gonna be-
it.
let's
if
say-
you come in with your device, we'll help you. Librarians are standing by.
Okay. So that then begs the question, if I wanted to download it remotely, where would I go to do that?
You'd go, once you had downloaded that Libby app onto your device, and the first time you set it up, you basically
It
sync
just
it
walks-
to your library card. It walks you through
Right.
it. And then ever after that, it's kind of like, hello, Mary, what do you want? And I'm like, well, I want this and this and this and this. And I download them at 2 in the morning or 1 in the morning. There's never a fine because they always turn themselves back in within 21 days, though usually I'm done way earlier than that and getting new ones.
So what's interesting to me is so I'm a Ryan Holiday fan. Ryan Holiday wrote The Obstacle is the Way, Ego is the Enemy, Stillness is the Key. The one I'm reading now is about courage. Courage is Calling. So I have that on Audible. Mm-hmm. So I listen to Ryan Holiday in my car, driving around, talking about being a courageous little
That's
lion.
great.
And then I will sometimes read it on a tablet
That's
or a
good, too.
hard book. And so I interact with my reading. And then what I do is if I make advancements in the hard book, I will advance my Audible to
Yes.
wherever chapter, which is very, very. So, Mary, one more time, if I want to get more information about Libby or the library, where am I going to go one more time?
If you go to ebrpl.com, and that just stands for East Baton Rouge Parish Library.com, you can find an info guide. You type in the words Libby, and there she is.
So, anything else? I'm going to give you another minute or two. Anything else we need to know about the library you've got like so much stuff going on.
I'm going to tell you something new. We
Okay.
just started a month ago checking out hotspots
Okay.
at libraries all over the parish to recognize that we have digital deserts
Okay.
in the parish where there's no internet.
Okay.
There's no support, but people need it. It's a utility now. So people have been checking out these hotspots like crazy, and we just started checking out games so that families can take advantage of that. That goes along with checking out the Arduino kits and the telescope, and badging is going on to learn to use things like the lasers. Anyway, good stuff.
So I tell people, I have a 6-year-old who's about to be 18.
Yes.
I tell people a good way to have fun on a Saturday, believe it or not, and it's not a believe it or not because I love the library, is go to the library and just walk through, get lost, see what they
what's
have.
happening.
There's always stuff going on at the library. Sometimes you guys have makers doing things
Yes,
there.
or-
Sometimes you have events.
Maybe it's a mermaid. Maybe
right,
it's a clown.
right.
We've had jugglers just this week.
One of my favorite events in Baton Rouge, Oktoberfest, with the Baton Rouge Symphony
Symphony.
was at the library.
That's right.
So, Mary, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us. You are always invited. Anytime anything's going on, you just reach out and let me know. And, Mary, thank you again for sharing information about Libby. Guys, seriously, online, digital access, 24/7. I almost feel like I need to give up Audible. I almost feel like I need to. You don't do Audible?
No, I do.
I love Audible.
I love Audible.
But I
as
like
well.
this.
My
Yeah,
podcast
it's
is on Audible. That's
I
what
like
I
the
love about it.
idea of not paying for my
Right.
book.
No, agreed.
So
Agreed.
pick and choose
Yeah.
because I still buy books
Right.
for my house when
Right.
I want to read them again and again. There's nothing wrong with having that, but just look and see if we have it first.
Well, thank you, Mary, so much.
Okay.
Well, you've been
Thank
listening
you.
to you're welcome. You've been listening to Mary Stein with the East Baton Rouge Library. Look, Dylan Ferguson, going from
Hello.
what and look, Mary, going from one great app to another great
That's
app.
right. It's App City.
So Dylan, tell the folks out there what Toast is.
So Toast is a restaurant software platform, and we'll do everything in the restaurant from point of sale to online ordering, gift cards, customer loyalty, email marketing. I mean, payroll. Just
You name it.
Yeah, inventory management, integrations with third-party delivery services, so they're not managing tablets in the restaurant. But obviously the general population will not interact with Toast in all of those ways. The way that we would interact with it would be with the Toast Takeout app.
So I was with Dylan for brunch, just minding my own business, at a nice little brunch place called
Leola's.
which, by the way, if you haven't been to Leola's, wonderful little secret brunch place. It's not really secret. It's just a wonderful brunch place.
It is.
So we're eating brunch there, and they bring out the check, and the check has a little, I guess, a QR code little box, that little box. And he looks at me and goes, check that out. And it was the Toast box where I used my photo on my phone, and it keyed up the Toast app, which apparently I had downloaded at some point. Kudos to you.
Yeah.
And I was able to pay on my phone and tip on my phone, which I know this sounds so like rudimentary, but that like eliminated 5 to 10 minutes. And that's not an indictment on service. That just got me out of having to like wait for the check and to come back and all that stuff. And it was done.
Well, so when I managed with Chimes and Power Hands, this was one of the things that I always coached our staff on, was that is the most crucial part of the dining experience, is whenever you leave. It doesn't matter if everyone was friendly to you and the food was great. If you wait 15 or 20
Then
minutes
you're
to close
starting to-
out, then that's your last impression before you go. And so what that scan-to-pay technology does is remove that wait time. You're able to pull out, pay with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay, straight from the phone.
And leave gracefully.
And leave gracefully. Leave whenever you like. They get the notification that you've paid, so you're not getting flagged down on the way out the door like, hey, where are you going?
So the goal is, and what I like about your app, and I'm not just saying that because I care about you and you're on the show, obviously.
Thanks, Franz.
Yeah, you're welcome. What I like about the app is it really does improve the customer service experience, both from the customer standpoint and from the restaurant standpoint, which of course helps the customer, right?
Well, exactly, and I think an important thing to note there is that commission-free online ordering piece whenever you're ordering through the Toast Takeout app. So those orders are firing directly in. They're not having a big chunk taken out of them.
That means that money stays right here in Baton Rouge.
Stays right here in Baton Rouge.
Look at Mary!
Yes, Mary is an incredible guest. I'm trying to elevate to Mary's.
Well, one
energy
day,
level, yeah.
one day, that's going to be the library. Is you're going to go into the library, you're going to have a code on the book,
We do.
and you scan with your
We
phone.
already have
What?
kiosks.
Watch this! Watch this!
Welcome to the future, Franz.
You can't quite
The
do
year
it on your
2000.
The RFID tag will scan on the kiosk.
Right.
So you just have to wave your little.
But I love this though.
Yeah.
I really do. I need to do this with my law firm, like a Toast app for the law firm.
Oh yeah.
Felony
How does that work? If I get arrested, do you give me the QR code to keep in my pocket? Or?
So I got to tell you, you laugh about that.
Yeah.
But there are some places where
Frequent
some
flyer.
firms have it set. I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole.
Sure.
So okay. So Toast app is in. Give me some highlights. And I know there's certain things you can't talk about because it's a publicly traded company.
Right.
But like, what are my favorite restaurants that you're using Toast right now?
Favorite restaurants on Toast right now, man. Where do you start? Soji.
Oh yeah,
obviously.
I told you about
Yeah.
Soji. Soji is my
Yeah.
first date spot. If I go
Right.
on a first date with
That's right.
somebody,
That's right.
Soji
Yeah.
for
Soji,
lunch, not
El-
dinner, lunch.
Elsie's Plate and Pie.
Oh, that's my birthday
Right.
place.
Yes. Mid City Beer Garden.
Okay.
Jed's Po' Boys.
Can we also give a shout out to Beer Garden about their Taco Tuesday $1.50 tacos?
100% we can do that.
Oh, my
and just
goodness.
Gretchen in general and everything that they're doing over
They're
there.
great.
Yeah.
So you've got a good little
It's
network
legit.
here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think most of the best restaurants in the city are on Toast, especially now that Jubin's and Mansur's and French Market Bistro, all those
Excellent.
groups coming on board. I mean, it's
So-
who was it today? Actually, I think I don't know if I can talk about it. Major restaurant in New Orleans coming
Okay,
on to the
cool.
platform today. We're all very excited about.
Well, I was in Bay St. Louis. I texted Dylan. I was in Bay St. Louis this last weekend, which, by the way, Bay St. Louis, wonderful place. I was eating in a restaurant. Toast app was on the ticket.
Yeah,
fun. So
yeah.
I
you're
was very excited.
getting out there.
60,000 restaurants.
It's kind of a
around
Mary.
the
It's kind of a
country.
thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of a thing, Mary.
Yeah, it's a thing.
60,000?
Yeah. It's not
That's-
my app. I work for Toast.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not like the start
a
of
thing.
this was.
So
yeah.
the other reason I have Dylan on, and maybe we'll continue this conversation with Dorothy in the second half. I'm interested. I have noted, while I may have problems with certain restaurants, and I may praise certain restaurants, I'm introspective. I look I look deep inside of myself sometimes, Dylan, and say, how can I be a better person? And part of being a better person recently has been, how can I be a better customer at a restaurant? How can I have reasonable expectations of what's going on at the restaurant? How can I be a good patron? And I say this because we're living in, not to get too deep, Mary, we're living in a society now where it used to be the light would change green and there'd be like a grace period. And if you didn't move after like 5 seconds, then the little light tap. I noticed today, we're like LA now. The light turns green and I'm like thinking about putting my foot down. And before a second goes, I'm getting honked at.
What is there to think about, though? Why do you have to take that
right,
second?
Exactly.
Yeah,
You're
what do
proving
you-
my point, Dylan. So my point is, I thought about how that kind of transfers into our expectations as patrons at restaurants.
Sure.
Coupled with the fact that one of my favorite restaurants this week received what I believe to be an unfair bad review. And if you've ever looked at reviews before, you can tell the unfair bad ones versus the, ooh, I've been there and it really is a bad place.
Can we talk about how much Yelpers are horrible people? Can we talk about that? Because that's a fact. That's an absolute fact.
So, first question, because Dylan's here to help me be a better patron, and by extension, guys, you guys too. Number one, can you be a reasonable, good patron and still give reviews?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
you agree that reviews are okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so how do you give? So let's say you have this is my number one question. Let's say you have a bad experience with a restaurant, and I'll
okay.
tell you how I generally handle a bad experience.
Right.
I will pull the manager to the side and say, hey, this is the first time I've been here, or hey, I normally come here, and tonight I kind of had a bad experience. And this is what went wrong. I'm not looking for a free, because it's important to me not to look for like a discount or I want it to be a better experience, especially if it's a restaurant I normally like going to, and it was just like, ugh. My mindset is I eat out way more than I should. But I look at someone else and say, maybe that person doesn't eat out as ridiculously much as I do. Maybe Mary only eats out once a quarter, or maybe only goes to a nice restaurant maybe once every 6 months. So I try to have a conversation. Now, if the manager looks at me and devalues me, then the gloves are off. I'm going to rain Google fire.
So this is an interesting point that you're making, because this is something else. Oh, yeah.
No, keep going. Keep going.
Something that I talked about a lot is that anytime we made a mistake, anytime that, if we missed an entree, we missed an app, this was an opportunity to redeem the entire experience. Because most of the time you're not interacting with the manager. It's everything goes according to the plan, like everything's good. But if you do have that mistake, then we get to step in and create.
I got to
really
tell you,
special thing.
we're about to hit our first break, but I got to tell you, if someone leans into the mistake, if the server says, we didn't do right this time, and I'm sorry, and I apologize, or hey, we're
good.
like you've said before to me, hey, we're slammed, and I'm going to do as best as I can. That makes a world of difference. We're going to hit our first break. Listen, you've been listening to the Geaux Rouge Show on Talk 107.3. For more Geaux Rouge, go to www.geauxrouge.com. We're going to be right back with our second half. Stay tuned. We'll see you in a little bit. All right, so.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Good to
Dorothy!
meet you in another location.
Yeah.
You take care.
Thank you.
See you next
If
Saturday.
Yeah.
And Miss Mary, if you ever need anything, you just text me and say, hey, I want to come on and talk about whatever.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I love this conversation.
Yeah.
Because we haven't
This is
got
fun.
to
I know, we
the
haven't gotten to the good
potatoes
stuff yet. Yeah, I know.
All right. You take care. Yeah.
So Dorothy strikes me as someone, like, what are your top, come over here. Come.
Would you prefer the
You
chair?
want bump music coming back in?
I do want bump music coming
No,
back
no.
in.
What do you want? Is what I'm asking. Are we gonna leave that
I want Motley Crue.
Whoa.
No. I watched Stranger Things this morning, so I want
You want Metallica?
Metallica. Your Master of Puppets is good. Don't Tread on Me is also one of my favorites.
Are these breaks going on YouTube?
Yeah, we're
Wow.
still on
So we're
YouTube.
still doing
there.
YouTube.
So, okay. All right.
gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
give me, without showing any kind of favoritism, give me 3 of your favorite non-bougie restaurants in Baton Rouge. If you're just having, like, let's say Thursday night or Friday
Oh, why
night.
can't they be bougie though? Like, what if
If
they
you
are-
want to do
yeah.
bougie, you can. I mean, like. Oh, sorry. Siri's about to tell me her
Siri wants to
bouginess.
chime in, yeah.
All right, favorite just pop in restaurants. Chimes is one of my go-tos.
Which chimes?
Nice.
LSU.
LSU.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
LSU. That's it.
East is great too in their
It
own
is.
way. Yeah.
It is. But
I don't have hard feelings against East. Some people really are like, that's the fake chimes.
Oh, it's absurd to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh, yeah. If they're watching, they'll be upset about.
I'm
that,
listening.
but
Keep
that's
going.
fine. Yeah.
I'm also very close to the LSU one, so popping in
Right. Much
is
easier to do.
Much easier to do. Love Oliver Twist too because the food is good, but also they're open really late.
Yeah.
So they have that
Serving
11
food really
serving
late?
food. So they're open
Interesting.
until
I didn't
11.
realize that.
And
Yeah.
the bourbon selection.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Unmatched, right? Almost.
Yeah. They're good. They have
They're
a really good
Really
selection.
good. Okay.
Yeah.
And then number 3, we do a lunch spot. I love Elsie's. Elsie's would probably be
Elsie's
my
is
Best red beans and rice and fried chicken in town.
The thing that I'm the most excited about those answers is that all 3 of those are
Yeah.
Toast customers. Those are all
course.
3.
There you go.
And so it just holds up that the best restaurants, the best restaurants are on Toast. So this is super exciting. Yeah. Yeah, I love Elsie's too. I was there for lunch earlier this week.
I was there last
I'm excited for their restaurant week. Elsie's Restaurant Week is always one of my favorite restaurant week menus.
is those restaurant
$45.
those
Yeah, those
restaurant
$45
packages.
deal is
That's
there.
my favorite.
I gotta tell
that's
you-
the best package
Yeah,
to me. To
it
go to
is.
Doe's,
Honestly-
to get a 3-course meal for $45 is a steal.
Honestly, those I tell people, I look at restaurant week. Maybe we'll talk about this in the second segment.
Yeah.
I look at restaurant week as an opportunity to try new places, but also to get the
Yep.
awesome deal at the places that you love.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so
That ribeye at Doe's is $45 by itself.
Yes.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
10 more minutes with Dylan, and then the rest of the show with Dorothy.
Okay.
So if you just cue me up and say, I'll switch it over, and then you should stick around. You should just.
I'm going
you're
to
here.
stick around.
Yeah,
Yeah, of
absolutely.
course. Yeah, I'm going to keep hanging out. This is fun.
You could you could
Share the
co-host the
love.
radio show whenever you want.
Really?
Yeah, I'm trying to get author on here too, man.
Well, because this How to Be a Good Diner, I think, is a
show.
multi-part series.
It's a show.
It's a show. Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. I just want to chime in every week. I want to come in with the tray and set things down.
Some great stories from restaurant.
Oh,
horror stories
so
from
many,
restaurants.
so many
those.
stories. Oh.
All right, welcome back to the second half of the Geaux Rouge radio show. This is your host, Franz Borkhardt. Franz Borkhardt, you may have seen me on such things as Court TV.
Oh, I was wondering if
Mornings
you were
with
gonna talk
Brian
about it.
Haldane, Legally Served. We did 2 episodes of Legally Served today, guys. You need to check it out. We interviewed the attorneys of NBA Youngboy. He recently was acquitted of some felony charges in Los Angeles. I spread the love like peanut butter. Franz Borkhardt on the Geaux Rouge show. If you're just now tuning in, our first half, we had Mary Stein from the Baton Rouge Library, and we had our special guest co-host, Dylan Ferguson from the Toast app. This half, we have Dorothy Kemp with Volunteers in Public Schools, and more Dylan. More Dylan. Dylan's going to be talking to us, Chuck, about how to be a good diner.
Sure.
Do
How
we
to
have
be a
enough
good
time to discuss that? You
Well,
only got,
I'm thinking about making this a reoccurring thing.
You should.
Dylan comes in
You
with
should.
1 or 2, or maybe Dylan's top 3 monthly. How to be a better Dylan.
Ooh, that's a good
How to be a
idea.
better diner, not better Dylan.
Yeah, I can do that too.
So before we do that,
How to be a better Dylan and Diner.
Yeah. how to be a better Dylan and
but
diner,
before we do that, we're going to thank our show sponsors. These are the folks that make this Geaux Rouge show possible. We got the Borkhardt Law Firm, www.borkhardtlawfirm.com. Hey, if you get a felony and you mentioned that you heard about the Borkhardt Law Firm on the Geaux Rouge show, that probably won't do
To
anything
who?
for you.
Yeah. Okay.
That won't do
Yeah.
anything. I'll be like, oh, bless your heart. We got La Divina Italian Cafe. I have a great sense of humor about my primary source of income. The La Divina Italian Cafe, open every day with your custom made from scratch breakfasts. Shout out to Chef Eric. Sheriff Eric, I want to get Chef Eric on here too because he's got some strong vocalized opinions about food and other food establishments, and I like putting him in his place. His food is delicious,
Yeah.
but I also like putting him in his place. He was one of the, if you were listening to the first half of the show, when I posted the picture from Soulshine, which I really do like Soulshine, he came down hard on the red beans and rice photo,
Wow.
which is funny to me because, well,
Why is that?
It's
funny?
all about lighting and filters, man. You
well,
gotta,
dude, you eat
gotta
with your eyes.
bring it
You
outside.
did go no filter
to
on
quote
it.
my
Yeah,
buddy,
that is,
to quote
yeah.
my buddy Nick Huff, who is the owner of Overpass Merchant.
What does he know? Honestly.
You eat with your eyes first.
No, the camera eats first.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure that lighting and that everything is perfect.
Has to be perfect.
And
Yeah.
speaking about being perfect, our last show sponsor, Dr. G, Dr. Gunja Reyna with MD VIP at Heal 360. She'll help you become a better version of yourself. Not perfect, but a better version of yourself. Those are the show sponsors. And look, if you want more information about the Geaux Rouge Show, go to www.geauxrouge.com. Okay, Dylan, back to you. How to be a better diner, and Dorothy's in the house for this too. All right, give me some tips on how to be a better customer, a better patron, a better diner.
Okay, so whenever I was thinking about this and planning out what I was going to say, I thought about starting from the beginning of the experience, right? And the very first thing is in selecting a restaurant.
Okay.
And if you're in Baton Rouge, there's just no reason why you shouldn't be eating at a locally owned Baton Rouge restaurant. Like, we shouldn't be walking into, is it okay to say the names of corporate chains on the?
I mean,
there's just no
go
reason.
ahead and destroy that. Go ahead and destroy my
I'll
possible.
say it.
Outback
Are
Steakhouse.
they-
Why are you eating Outback Steakhouse?
Outback was the one I was thinking of. Yeah,
Salt
that's
Lake. What is it? Salt Lake?
Saltgrass. Yes.
Saltgrass.
Okay, so you already know what I'm going with this. There's just
Although I will differentiate if you mentioned J. Alexander's, which I know is a chain, but and it's not local.
it is a
but
bit
it's
of an
a-
exception.
but it's
Yeah,
a
J.
special
Alexander's
place.
is pretty good.
All right,
California
so-
Pizza Kitchen pretty unique.
so
but pick a local place. Those folks are from the community, and they're giving back. When you think about the stuff that we do with the American Cancer Society, or maybe even with the Bourbon Society, I mean, it is the local concepts that
Absolutely.
are funding and making these
Absolutely.
events possible.
So allow
Yeah.
me to respond to that a piece of
Yeah.
advice, which I do like supporting our local restaurants. Should my expectations be different? If I'm going local to support local, should I expect different from local versus a chain?
What do you mean I mean, you should
Okay.
expect higher quality, probably. Like maybe.
So should I be more giving on the local service versus the chain service? Because a chain should have a better machine of training their staff, right? Should I expect that the Outback Steakhouse staff is better or not as good as a local spot?
So I would say no, because the barriers to entry to becoming employed in one of those chains are a lot
Very
lower
low.
than a locally owned restaurant. Like
Right.
for instance, at Parish, I mean, I wanted 2 years of serving experience at a comparable concept to even have the conversation of if you're going to serve here, right?
Okay, I'm with you.
And I think a lot of restaurants, whenever I was applying for serving jobs, but I mean, today the job market is a little more like, hey, pulse.
Yes, breathe.
Yeah, you can breathe and you can like speak to people reasonably, I guess. I don't know. You don't have to, honestly. If you don't want to, it's fine.
So what else? What are the other things?
So that was the big one. Choose local. The next thing, as we're getting to the host stand, right? As we're walking up to, if you walk into a restaurant on a Friday, a Saturday night, and you find out it's going to be an hour wait, one, you should expect it, right? If it's a good restaurant on a weekday night,
Call in advance, maybe? Get a
if
reservation?
they accept it, if they don't accept reservations, though, right? Some
Right.
places don't accept reservations. Two things here. One of them, eat a little bit before you go.
Okay.
Eat a little snack before you get there, so that you're not
Ravenous?
just
Hangry?
ravenous. Yeah, it's going to soften the blow of everything else that happens to you, just the whole rest of the way up.
I like
right?
it. Okay, I'm with you.
And then also, whenever you get to the counter and they tell you it's going to be that hour wait, don't debate about getting on the wait at the counter, right? Like, just say yes. Just say yes. Give them your name. Give them your cell phone number.
step away.
And get out of the way. Yeah, there's
step away.
yeah. Exactly.
I love those places that they text you when it's ready to go.
Right.
That way you can go do something else. You can hang out outside.
So I think
and
another-
a lot of times those places you can text back.
Yeah.
And you can say, so you don't even have to go back to the host if you're worried about like disappointing them by leaving and wanting to avoid that interaction. Like,
So I think
you just
another
text them
layer of this is have a thoughtful moment of, okay, where do I really want to go?
Right.
And is this a restaurant that is going to be packed on a
Right.
Friday or Saturday night?
Right.
If it's going to be packed on a Friday and Saturday night, I call in advance and say, what's your weight on a 2-top? Or what's your weight on a 4-top?
Sure.
That way, if the wait is 30 to 45 minutes, I then say, well, can I go ahead and put my name on the list? Not a reservation, but put my name on the list. If they say no, then I know in advance, okay, this is going to be a place that however long it takes me to get there, then I'm going to be waiting 45 minutes to an hour.
Right.
Versus, hey, what's your wait? 15 minutes? I now have reasonable expectations of what to look forward to. Now, if there's a deviation from that, well, it is what it is.
Yeah,
And just because
sure.
someone tells you
Well,
30 to 45 minutes doesn't mean you're going to wait 30 to 45 minutes.
Something to say about that is that it's not an exact science,
Right.
right? Like what we're doing, like we're walking around the restaurant and we're being like, okay, these guys have their desserts, they're on appetizers over here, and then sort of calculating the weight from there. So if, one table decides they bust out the birthday cake that you didn't even know was there, then it's like, okay, sorry guys.
So,
we're gonna
so
be here
keep
a
it
while.
going. You got more?
Yeah.
You got more?
I've got more. This is one that I definitely, I can't leave without saying. Diet Coke is not an appropriate answer to the question, how are you doing? when your server greets the
So you
table.
need a little bit more. You need a little bit more.
Like it's not like I can't tell you how many times I've walked up to a table. Hey guys, how's it going today? Diet Coke. I'm like,
rude.
but you would be amazed. I mean, it's got to be honestly 1 in 3.
So I've never was
at
a
least.
server in a restaurant.
Yeah.
But if I'm nice to the server at the front end, let's say I make a good first impression.
Okay.
Do you think that improves my service experience?
100%.
Okay, 'cause
I'm
the
more inclined to
server-
go to that table if I am not afraid to go to that table, or if I'm even like looking forward to it. Like, man, they were so nice. Let me go check on them.
So what I do, and I've told you this before, what I do is if I'm going to a restaurant I've never been to, and dare I say may never go again because of location or whatever, I will tell the server, hey, I've never been here before. I want your help.
Ooh, yeah.
And I'll say, what is the thing to get? And if they kind of are like, well, everything we have is so good, I'll look at them and I'll say,
I love everything on the menu.
so I will look
No.
at them and I'll
Look,
say,
sometimes that's the answer.
so
right?
Dylan, I'll look at him and say, Dylan,
Yeah.
I'm going to give you permission to be honest with me and tell me. And I'm not going to hold it against you. So, for example, Chimes Gumbo. Have you ever ordered the Chimes Gumbo before? And the waitress or waiter will say, okay, just to let you know, this is not like normal gumbo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Duck and andouille gumbo, and it's fantastic.
We actually train them to do that. Like we want that question to come out. Have you had it here before?
Right.
Because we don't want any surprises.
Right.
And a lot of times they're bringing you like a little taste of it as well.
So you be
just
Yeah.
to confirm.
So what I'm hearing
which
is
gets to the next point. That I
be a
wanna make.
good human to your server.
Oh man,
That makes a
Yes.
big difference.
It makes a huge difference. It makes
Okay.
a huge difference.
All right. Got 1 minute left.
1 minute left. Ooh, okay. If you order something you don't like at a restaurant,
That was going to be my question.
yeah, it is not really on the restaurant that you got something you didn't like. Just don't get it again, right?
Okay.
I mean, it's the conversation I've had, hundreds of times. Hey, I got this. I don't like it. Like, okay, well,
You know what
sorry
I do?
about
Yeah,
that.
you
Like,
know
can
what
I
I
get
do?
you something else?
So you know what I
it's
do?
a risk. Yeah.
So what I will do is if I ordered something like an appetizer or soup or something and it's not good for me,
right.
I'll say, hey, look, I didn't really like this. Can I order something else? Not looking for, and I'll say, I'm obviously going to pay for it. I just want to get something else.
Right. And there's
Yeah.
a difference between a quality issue and a perception
Yeah,
issue.
absolutely.
Well, and-
Might
yeah,
not be my
objective
taste.
versus
Yeah.
subjective problems.
So
right?
quality and perception wise, but here's my thing. If you don't like it, it shouldn't take you eating the entire thing to determine that
Ooh,
you didn't
Franz.
like it.
You have
Yes.
to find that taste at the bottom of the bowl.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't realize till just now. I just,
I ate
don't
the
like this.
entire bowl.
This is-
I ate
It
this
was-
whole bowl of
Yeah.
spaghetti, and it's terrible.
It's awful.
Well, what don't you like about it? It's not good.
Right.
Like, I mean, that's.
What does that say
that's-
about me?
Yeah, that's not.
So if you're just
Yeah.
now tuning in, Dylan, one more time, Dylan's with the Toast app. Dylan's going to be a recurring, he doesn't know this yet, Chuck, but Dylan really is going to be a recurring thing. We have a buddy, we have a mutual buddy. We wanted to give him the grumpy, what is it?
The Grumpy Diner segment.
The Grumpy Diner
Yeah, I
segment.
think. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay,
it's where Arthur
okay.
just comes and complains about whatever restaurant he ate at.
And it's thoughtful complaining too.
Yeah.
So
Sure,
So
yeah.
Dylan's with the Dylan's with the Toast app. I highly recommend you download the Toast app. Certainly restaurant and look, if I wanted to find out all the restaurants that are on the Toast app so that I know going in if I can use it, it's on the app.
It's on the app. You would just
cool.
download the app. All the restaurants are going to be there. You'll be able to order online, be able to order delivery from those that have that activated.
So last thing.
Yes.
I use Open Table,
Yes.
even if it's a place I don't need a reservation,
Of course.
so I can get my Open Table points. But I
Right.
also like having the reservation. But I don't act pissy if the reservation is not like spot on the time. Like if it's like,
Yeah.
hey, we're slammed, but we have your reservation and you're up in front of the line. I don't lose my stuff about that. I let it slide. I'm okay with that.
I think
what
he
is
just be
this-
chill.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I want to go to places. That's the thing, though, is I want to go to places. Sometimes the waiting is a part of the experience.
Sure.
So I don't, as you guys know, if
You
you're
get to people watch.
Well,
Yeah.
the whole time.
So look,
That's
so
the best.
who am I with? What am I
Yeah.
doing? If everybody who listens knows I don't drink anymore, but maybe the person I'm with wants to have a cocktail at the bar. We go to the bar. I'll get a Diet Coke. They get something to drink, and heaven forbid, we put the cell phones down and we talk like human beings interacting.
I wasn't listening. Sorry. I just wanted to check something
Yeah,
out.
I'm signing up on the Toast app. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
could
paying
you-
attention
yeah.
to you,
So that's
Franz.
a good. That behavior is a good segue to our friend Dorothy Kemp. Dorothy, have you been on the show before? I think you have. Yes.
I have.
So Dorothy normally comes on because she is promoting the Bourbon Society of Baton Rouge, but that's not why she's here today. Today, she is with the volunteers in public schools, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So I saw you making the media circuit. So I was like, the rest of the Baton Rouge media is getting Dorothy, and I've seen Dorothy on the Bite and Booze Jay Ducote show. I need her on the Geaux Rouge show. So Dorothy, what's going on?
So I'm really excited. We have a lot of things going on with volunteers at public schools right now. We're gearing up for the beginning of the school year, which is like in a couple weeks. That's
Right?
Wow.
July just
Yeah.
flew by. So we're finishing up our summer programs. We're looking for volunteers for our year-long programs and partners for our year-long programs, and also gearing up for this big event, which we want everybody in the community to participate in, which is our First Day Helpers program, which we bring in people from the community to greet our students, be really excited about
so
kids
nice.
coming to school, and help out teachers and administrators however they need to on the first day of classes.
Awesome.
It's so much fun.
That's got to be a chaotic day.
It's so
and then
chaotic.
just to have more adults around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, if I wanted more information about this, Dorothy, where would I go?
VIPS.
How would I participate?
To participate, you go to vipsbr.org.
VIPs.
VIPS, Volunteers in Public Schools.
Right. Like VIPs.
Yes, like
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, you said VIPs, but I mean,
VIPs.
I was thinking, I was like, what does that sound familiar? Yeah, what is that?
We need to start using
so
that.
what's your involvement with VIPs?
So I am the vice president of the board for
Okay.
Volunteers in Public Schools. New position, just rolled onto the executive board this year, and I'm really excited to have that expanded role. But I've been volunteering with VIPs in different capacities for the last couple years. It started out with my Baton Rouge leadership class, starting out with a project with there, continuing that project with, we read to pre-K and Buchanan every 2 weeks, bring them books to the library, and then every semester they get books to take home too. And then continuing that program since then.
I like it.
What
I
is
like
that last program that you said?
The Baton Rouge leadership program?
The
or-
one after that, with the books.
Oh, so that's a program that we do. Started off with my leadership class. I've continued it with my Kiwanis Club, but that's also part of the Partners in Education program, where any organization can partner with the public school and do whatever they want. If you want to build a garden, if you want to go read to kids, if you want to go tell jokes every few weeks, whatever you want to do, teach them about broadcasting or the legal field in high school, you can definitely
QR
do that.
codes.
Absolutely.
does Baton Rouge have a community garden?
A few.
A few.
Okay, good. And look, I like the idea of the youth getting integrated into the criminal justice system, not in juvenile delinquency.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering where that, yeah.
Well, you said mentoring. This is how you represent a felon.
Yeah.
This is,
Right, okay, I see. I don't know.
this is
I
how
like
you
the idea
turn
of the-
$1 into $10.
Yeah, let's
Right.
not do that.
No.
We do have
No.
a background check program, guys, for our volunteers.
Right.
You see, Timmy, snitches get stitches.
Do you go through radio shows and YouTube channels just to vet everything?
We might start doing.
Let me
that.
tell you.
We might have
Let me
to.
tell you. Radio shows, they don't really vet you much. They put you on. You got some money for airtime? You got a show, buddy.
If the check clears, it's all that matters.
I jokingly say that, but it's so true. No, I'm joking. All right. So, okay. So what else are you? You're involved in some other stuff.
I'm involved.
Which
in a
Kiwanis
couple
Club are
things.
you in?
I'm in the Baton Rouge Kiwanis Club, formerly the Downtown Kiwanis
So
Club.
y'all meet Thursday still?
We meet Thursdays at noon
Where-
at Walk-Ons,
Oh,
Burbank.
it's a great,
So
great
I
toast
was.
customer,
I used
by
to.
the way.
So she and I used to. We were both in collegiate Kiwanis
Yes.
called Circle K. I was in Kiwanis briefly, and then I betrayed Kiwanis and joined Rotary Club. But that's just purely based on local schedule. But downtown Kiwanis used to have one of the best lunches. But Walk-Ons is
Yeah.
I mean, is it is you just order off the menu, or is it prefix?
They have a prefix menu, but you can also order off the menu. And it's a hybrid club now. So some of us meet virtually when we need to, and go in every Thursday, have a great lunch, talk about service, and do some great things in the community.
So David Steele, who's watching on shout out to David Steele. David Steele, who's also in the Bourbon Society of Baton Rouge, writes in the YouTube chat, sounds like just being a good person is the best way to handle going to a restaurant.
yeah, well,
I do want to.
So simple, but so hard.
Hold on.
How much time do we have?
Yeah, you got about 5 minutes.
So here's the. We're going to come back to
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
VIPs or VIPs. Here's my question. This is the question I have for the guy that used to work in the service industry. Did you ever work in the service
Yeah.
industry?
Yes.
Did you ever work in the service
Really?
industry?
Yeah.
I did.
I
right.
started at a restaurant in New Orleans,
Okay.
and then moved to Baton Rouge and got stuck at the old Applebee's on Sherwood, lunching during smoking, and that cut me out of the service.
This is a fair
Wow.
question
Great.
to all three.
Sure.
If being a bad person isn't the way to be a good customer, if
Okay,
being
yeah.
a good person is the way to be a good customer, how does a good diner address a bad restaurant experience? And I say bad as in, I'm not talking about being a Karen. I'm talking about a legitimate situation where either the food was messed up, the food maybe never came, or how does
Sure.
a good customer address that issue besides going to Yelp and destroying the restaurant forever?
Well, I think
Especially since Dylan wants us to go into local places, so we'll
That's
take
right.
their rod and staff
Please.
away from them.
Yeah.
it's important to quiet the emotional disturbance before
Okay.
you interact
Yeah.
with the staff, I think, would be
Yeah.
the best way to say it, right? Like, whatever has happened to you was not a personal thing. No one went out of their way to give you cold food or to forget your app or to seat you late. And that's what those hot situations I would get into a lot. That's the way it seemed like the other person felt. Like you did this to me. You took my name off the wait.
Yeah.
You forgot my appetizer. And it's like,
We're not trading a pound of flesh here.
Right.
Your
Yeah, it's
appetizer
like,
didn't come
no.
out. I mean,
yeah, we're all running around sweating, like working until midnight because we don't care. You know what I mean?
here's-
Like everyone cares.
So here's my next question.
right.
I always try to address, and you heard me say earlier, if it's a pull the manager to the side thing,
Yeah.
I typically do that on the way out. And,
Sure.
and I typically only do that on the way out if I can do it on the way out. Okay? But my question becomes, when do you address it with the server versus going to the manager?
I think whenever, and follow your intuition for one, I guess, but also
Burn the place down.
yeah, it's there's no right or wrong answer, right? Like
Okay.
you deserve a good dining experience,
Right.
and every restaurant agrees with you in that, right? So I think if you're approaching it with respect and treating the other person with dignity, especially if it's a server, like most of the times, like part-time college student, 18 to, I mean, who knows? I mean, there's servers who do this professionally as well. It's just important that you understand that this is a human that you're talking to.
Should you try to cultivate a relationship with, when I say relationship, I don't mean an inappropriate relationship. I mean,
Okay.
I like when I find a good server at a restaurant,
Right.
whether it's Elsie's or wherever, I will ask, hey, is such and such working? Is Chuck working? Can I get a table in Chuck's section?
I used to love
Sure.
my regulars.
Oh yeah, you love regulars. If
I'm not
they're,
pushy
good
about
regulars.
If they're good
No, no,
regulars.
I'm
Yeah,
not
if they're good
pushy, but I'm not
regulars,
pushy about it to the
Right.
point of, but like, there is something about a server that knows that I
Yeah.
drink a Diet Coke with a lime in it, that I'm high maintenance. There's something about a server that when you pull up and you're like, hey, I'm looking at the menu, and they're like, hey, do you want to get your normal appetizer?
Right.
I like-
That's nice. Yes.
The giving a care, that's the word I'll use,
Yeah.
a care, like showing me positive love, it's
Yeah.
like, it makes me feel special,
Sure, sure.
versus, what do you want?
Right.
Not that I get that, but I'm saying, okay. So anything wrong with asking for your
No,
regular?
I think that's great. I think as long as you are hitting that firm 20% tip threshold
Okay.
every time you come.
So last question on that.
Right.
One. Besides, about one more time, since you're the important part of the segment. No offense, Dylan.
Yeah,
if I
no, that's
want
fair.
to get information on VIPs, one more time, where do I go?
VIPsBR.org.
VIPsBR.org. Okay, so
VIPsBR.
here's the next question. And this is a question. We've got a minute left. All right. Bad service. When do I decide not to give the full 20% versus I don't want to punish the server,
Of
right?
course, right.
Like,
And
but
the
in the
thing
same
is-
thing, I don't want to encourage bad behavior.
Look,
I represent criminal defendants. I don't want to encourage bad behavior.
you have to follow your intuition here as well, right? Like if you see a server running around, I mean, they're stressed,
Right.
they're, and your food's taking long and your check's taking long, everything's taking a long time, then maybe like that's a situation where you still leave the 20%, right? They're just clearly overworked, understaffed, that kind of situation. If you get someone that's a little more apathetic, it's also, I think,
Smite them.
Yeah, it's also
Get them
important.
fired.
It's as in anything, it's important to assume good intention,
Yeah.
I
right?
got it. So that's about it. We're out of time, guys. But we're gonna have Dylan back, Dorothy.
Great.
It's okay. We'll have you back too. So Dylan, Dorothy, Chuck, y'all have a great weekend. Again, you've been listening to Geaux Rouge Show. www.GeauxRouge.com.